Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Digi India Squad with the M&M girls. That's Mansi and Monica. Hi, Monica.
Hey Mansi, how are you?
Good, good, good. I'm so glad we're back. Okay, so we started this web series with a focus on the SMEs and how we should be giving them a lot more information on what is happening from the digital marketing angle because that's what we specialize in. And today we're going to discuss a major trend, and trust me, if the SMEs don't get on this, you have a lot to lose. Okay, and that trend is nothing but how vernacular content is actually picking up. You talk about websites, you talk about social media, you talk about video content, audio content, everything. We have seen a big leap in how vernacular content is actually picking it up. So I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of statistics that we have from different websites. So as per an article published on 24th March on scatter.co.in, it says that India has over 30 languages and 1,600 dialects. And therefore, it says there's immense potential for consuming vernacular content. It also claims that we have more than 234 million native language speakers who are active online. Please note this, who are active online. So this shows the power and the potential of vernacular content. Also, there's another article from the next big brand. It says that between 2015 and 18, almost 40 million internet users were introduced. And 9 out of 10 of these new users were Indian language users. And this comes straight from Nidhi Gupta, who's the senior product manager at Google India. Another article from sourcinghardware.net. It speaks about how regional language content creation platforms targeted at women like momspresso.com are turning out to be a gold mine for smart marketeers. Now, they have about 330 million women in India expected to be on the internet by 2021. Engagement with customers in the vernacular language is going to be the next big thing. That's what they're mentioning. So that's a lot of statistics. If you see, there are lots of articles that are coming up. In fact, there was a report by Google KPMG, and they speak about how Indian internet user base will increase to 735 million by 2021. Now, please note that this report came out in January 2020 as per brandequity.com. Okay, they're speaking about how the CAGR is going to grow by 18% to reach about 536 million by 2021. While English users are expected to grow only by 3%. So imagine this, there's an 18% jump when it comes to vernacular, and English, it's only going to be 3%, reaching only 199 million people compared to 536 million people when it comes to Indian languages. Now that,
I
as I
think
said, is a
here,
huge
I
thing
think
that's
Mansi
happening.
probably, sorry to break
Go
in.
on, go on, go on.
I think this number will actually go up now because post March,
Exactly.
the impetus to get on the internet has gone up everywhere to the furthest corners of the country. So I think these numbers will only shoot up now.
Big time. Last 6 months, everybody has gone digital. Everybody has taken to the internet, not because they wanted to. One is businesses were of course forced to, thanks to the lockdown and the COVID. But even as consumption, what will people do sitting at home? Like, how much television is always there. Okay, I think there was another report which spoke about how television is growing in terms of the regional languages compared to the English speaking channels. So that is going to be in digital as well, right? So as you said, yes, these things are going to go up. So let's speak a little more about this reports. So Monica, why don't you go ahead and talk about the things that Google found out, the kind of statistic that they are giving.
Yeah, so before I talk about the report from Google, just wanted to share this. A very interesting stat which came from Gartner that recently forecast that 30% of the web browsing sessions will now happen without a screen. And this is by 2020. without a screen. So you see that there is a huge upswing in audio content as well. Now, video has pretty much ruled the realm from 2015 onwards. And now you see that the mode of consumption is again showing a slight change. Audio content has become a way for people to consume content. I think it's also because uh, people are doing a lot of things in parallel. You're working and you're listening, and you're using these kind of micro moments to, continue your learning journey. And especially today, if you see all those people who are working online, their workload has gone up. And then even today, though it's been almost over 6 months since the COVID and the lockdown has been released and all of that, there are still a lot of people who are still managing all their work on their own. They have not brought in their help and anything of that sort. I know personally many of these people who are, using their time to say cook dinner, and they have their earphone on and they're listening to something which is helping them in their growth. It could be of a personal nature, entertainment, or it could be something which they are learning. It doesn't matter. But they are so they find that easy. So that has also led to a slight change in the way people are consuming content, and within the audio content. Vernacular has gone up substantially,
Right.
right? If you
Right.
just
Of
look at your
course.
regular apps, the Ghana and all the regular music apps which we have in India, you will see that lately in terms of music industry, the regional content was always there, but recently you will see for the podcasts. So I was just telling Mansi that, I use this Ghana app as my workout music, and I just picked up one which was a self a guided outdoor running kind of track, and I saw that within that they had Hindi tracks as well. So somebody who's guiding you in Hindi. So everywhere you see that, vernacular content is becoming more and more important, because the larger percentage of your audience is actually using and is more comfortable in regional languages, right? So I think we are now, really rushing past the time where most of the content is only available in English. Now we'll see a surge in content available in regional languages. It has already been there. If you see some of the people who started way back, let's say Nisha Madhulika, who's known for her recipes, she became very popular at that time because she was one of the very few people. In fact, she might have been the only person who was sharing recipes in Hindi. And her
Yes.
videos are also, and after that her videos followed, which were again in Hindi, but her blog used to be in Hindi, and that was a major factor in her huge success at the time. So you can see that, the use helping people by providing content in the language they are comfortable with is a great way of providing support and marketing yourself. So
Definitely. Monica,
yeah,
and also to mention here, we are talking about it from consumer perspective. Think of it from a marketer's perspective. It's
yeah,
easy to bring out audio content compared to video. I mean, video, even if you're looking at customer testimonials, people are shy,
yeah.
right? And then they all want to get decked up and present themselves better. So that entire thing goes away when it comes to audio. You just stand there wherever you are in the world and you just record it, and phones help you record it today. So I think that's also an advantage that audio has compared to the video, even though apps like Roposo or Chingari or
Mhm.
TikTok. Now the TikTok is banned in India, but still that they are growing, and you've got a lot of local talent coming up, vernacular things. But audio is going to grow because it takes away this people being shy and not being camera friendly. So this really
TikTok will
helps.
beg to differ. People are not shy. Sometimes you wish people were shy. Okay.
Very true. Very true. So that's quite a
Yeah.
bit of
So
Gartner study is yes,
yeah.
and I think Gartner, as you mentioned, that 30% of web browsing sessions will happen without a screen by 2020. Uh, India has added internet users at a 8x speed in the last 10 years, driven by small towns and villages and not by large cities, where users are entering the digital ecosystem due to access, affordability, and aspirations. That's what Mr. Anil Kumar, he's the founder of Red Seer. That's the
Research
CEO,
one.
actually. That's what he has said.
Yeah.
So that's quite a bit of things that are coming up when it comes to tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and it also empowers the businesses in tier 2 and tier 3 cities to become digital, because people are slowly coming on. And initially it was only that the purchasing power, when you looked at it, and the penetration of internet itself, it was always the cities. But now this, I think about 8 years ago, I heard in a webinar that Flipkart and Myntra saw this traffic coming from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and they were the ones buying the branded products. Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
it's happening everywhere. And if they don't move to vernacular content, I want to tell them that somebody else will capitalize on this. I want to say this quite loud and clear, that if you're not moving to vernacular content, if you're not going to engage with your audience in vernacular content, then you will definitely lose out on a major chunk of audience who have the purchasing power, who will want to know about your products and services, who will want to use it. But since you're not creating content in vernacular, you might not necessarily be a part of them at all.
Yeah. Mansi, you and I may have to do one Kannada and Hindi mix session also very soon.
Yes, love to.
Yeah. So Mansi, talking about the reference to the Google report you made, in September 29, it was seen that Hindi language witnessed a 5x growth in a year, emerging as the second most used language globally on Google Assistant. So what does that say, Mansi?
Oh, see, we have to understand this very, very clearly, okay? If you're thinking why vernacular now, we want to tell you that, vernacular has always been the focus. But then I probably think that, there wasn't enough enabling that was happening. Okay, that wasn't there is what I feel. Okay, people wanted to do vernacular content. Like if you look at television, the ads have always been there. I mean, I've always wondered, okay, I mean, if you look at an India level, I've always wondered why the ads of probably woolen wear comes to the South Indian bit in vernacular languages in June and July when it's pouring. Summer clothes come to us when it's pouring, and then winter clothes, as in the sweaters come to us when it's like really hot. Like I understand that January, February, March for us it's really cold, but for them that cold season probably begins from March. So these things are happening, and vernacular content was already there. But from an internet perspective, from a digital perspective, I think vernacular language, the people actually wanted to do it. But I think the one thing that really helped them was how Google kept an eye on this trend and actually enabled them. So Monica, I want you to talk about how they enabled the users, looking at this trend.
Yeah, so if you look at the various apps that Google has available, you talk about Google Search, Mobile, Google Translations, Google Discover, Google Bolo, Lens, Shopping. Everywhere you see that there is a higher integration of Indian language support today. And earlier this year only, Google has enabled voice search for 8 Indian languages. So the need has always been there. And it is just that these services did not support people who were looking for assistance in the language they were comfortable with. Now that is happening, and therefore we now see because now the consumers were always ready. Now the services have reached that stage where it is possible to produce the content in that language and share their content in that language, and also reach people in that language. So even in terms of let's say the ads that were available, you can now create ads in regional languages. You can do targeting based on regional languages. So all those, it is required that these things be available in that language so that you can actually move forward in that project if you are going to focus on vernacular. And today we are at that time where that environment is available and it's just ripe for marketers and business owners to use?
Perfect. So that's plenty of things that are happening, and I think eventually Monica will talk about other case studies that are coming up and how they're dwelling on content. But the one thing that we should also think about is the kind of challenges that are there when it comes to vernacular content. Because I mean, as Monica mentioned, that there are a lot of services that are coming up in different languages, but if you're only looking at probably translations, it's hilarious in a country like India where dialects change. I mean, people say it's every 100 kilometers, but I want to say that every 30-35 kilometers there's a change in dialect. In a country like India where languages are so diverse, okay, so many languages and so many dialects, translations may not be the way forward, because you really need to understand what it means. Generally, we've got too many proverbs, we've got too many sayings, and those things cannot be literally just translated. You lose the essence, you lose the context sometimes, and sometimes the meaning itself could be very different. And that is the reason why vernacular content is picking up big time, because translations in a country like India will not help, unless of course you're looking at literal translations and learning a language as such. But definitely you will lose that confluence, that context, and the influence just doesn't exist if you're looking at translations. So yes, that's one big challenge that they have, and vernacular content is going to rule because of this reason. And also literacy, like, let's look at this. How many of them do know English as a language, or even any other language, Hindi as a language, or any of the South Indians, even Oriya as a language, or Bengali as a language? So there is these cohorts, these segmentations are emerging strong. And if you're going to give them content in languages that is not their mother tongue, I want to tell you that they might not relate at all over a period of time.
That is a huge challenge, actually, to map your content to all the possible languages out there. I think is not very feasible without automatic translation. But if you see, I have been using Google Translate for many years. And you can make out that there has been a substantial improvement in the quality of the translations in the last few years, with natural language processing, artificial intelligence, and all these things that have come into play, where all the search engines are very heavily invested in these technologies, and that you can see the difference that it has made. Now, if you put in a statement in Hindi and ask for an English translation, you pretty much get something very close to the intent of that sentence. So that way, if you see, there has been a huge improvement in automatic translation. And sorry, I shook my table. And I think that this is going to evolve. When businesses start investing more in vernacular content, the technologies will also start developing in a faster pace, understanding the challenges in the market, and you will see solutions emerging that will help you deal with that challenge. That has always been the case. There is a demand in the market, and then innovators see the demand, and then they come up with solutions to help you serve that category of consumers. So that is definitely going to happen, because there are regional nuances you have to keep in mind, cultural nuances you have to keep in mind. The context is an extremely important element that you don't want to miss in an automatic translation, because sometimes a very simple statement can become offensive for a certain culture without your knowing it, right? So and this is the case across the globe also, not just within India. So you have to be careful about these things. And especially since the focus we see is more on audio and video content, where you can't hide much, right? So managing that is going to be a little tricky, but I think also a very exciting journey. Something that marketers and business owners should look forward to with enthusiasm, because for one thing, it is giving you an opportunity to move from, I know English is our official language, and because it actually binds our our states together, because there's no other national language as such. Even whatever we may say, I mean, please don't catch me on a political thing here, okay? What I'm just saying is that because I am from North India and I have moved to South India and I've been living here for 20 years, and I see that English is something which helps bridge the distance many times, because you may take time to pick the regional language and all of that. So it is the official language for sure. But if you are given the freedom to share something that you are passionate about, that you understand really well, in the language which you are really at home with, your communication changes completely. You can just deliver that at a different level altogether. So that's why I say that this is also a very exciting opportunity, though it is going to be challenging, but we will learn and experiment and try, and that's just how a marketer's life is.
Very true. I think that gives us a context to what we are talking about today. So, this apart, I think there are a couple of apps that have come up. Of course, see, there's Roposo, there's Chingari, and ShareChat for social media exchanges in local languages. And as she mentioned, there's Facebook automatic translation. Chat platforms are supporting Hindi keywords today, and even if you look at WhatsApp, you've got different languages. You can just type out in different languages. That's very most of these platforms are supporting different languages, and therefore communication is becoming a lot better. Definitely, yes. So some points that I want to talk about here from a marketing perspective is once you do vernacular content, localization is easy, right? You only reach out to that set of people. Okay. The others, I mean, in the digital world, like let's say you're putting this ad out on searches or on social media. First of all, when you target it right, if you target it right, that will reach the right set of people, which means that you are catering to that cohort, that segment of audience. Okay. And this will help you reach those who are not English literate as well. As I already mentioned, how many people know English compared to how many people know their mother tongue? Huge difference, right? Like probably a very small percentage. So, and because you reach out, like let's look at this, okay, on a real scenario. You go out to a gathering, and it's your business gathering, and then somewhere you hear somebody on the phone talking in your mother tongue. You immediately want to reach out to them and say, hey, are you from this region? Yeah. So this helps in building that relationships, that you do ads or you do content on social media in vernacular languages, in regional languages. It helps you build that relationship, and therefore the conversions are always going to be better. They're definitely going to be better. So these are some points that came to my mind. Why every business must look at vernacular content more so now, more so during pandemic, because you want to maintain that relationship that you either already had or you want to build in that new relationship. And with Atmanirbharta as a concept that's coming out from the government itself, okay, this is going to be huge. I mean, today, local businesses should do vernacular content and be present on social media. The kind of leverage that they get because of this is going to be huge. Okay. So, yeah, vernacular content is here. It has arrived. It is here to stay. And it's only going to get stronger and stronger as we go. Your thoughts on this, Monica?
Yeah, so we've established the importance of vernacular content, and I think that if marketers and business owners want to look at examples of how organizations are actually doing it, then they have many examples to look at today. So we have, so I've talked about the Google apps which are providing these services. You can just go try these apps yourself and see, how they are managing. So try different languages and see how it is being mapped and all that. Then if you see, even organizations like Tech Mahindra today are focusing on generating content in Hindi, and to reach out to the millions of people who usually are out of that bucket. I really feel that the move to vernacular content is a great step towards inclusion, which is very important for years we have, neglected a very huge segment of India's audience who was unable to consume content on the internet because of a language barrier. It's way past that time to break that barrier and include everybody in this wonderful learning process. Opera, which is one of the most popular browsers, also has also started supporting content in different languages, and and it can be used by people living in different parts of the country. What we'll do is we will share the links of some of these articles in the video content, also in the blog and everywhere where the content is shared, so you can also go into these articles and read them up in detail later. Franchise India, which is famous for its contribution in the franchise sector, has also started posting news and articles in Hindi language. Okay, and these articles are targeted towards entrepreneurs, and there are many entrepreneurs in towns, cities, villages, right? And they also need to be supported, and they should have access to learning resources. Then you have, as Manji said, the various social media platforms which are supporting the local languages. You can also check out this website, 22 languages. Again, as I said, we'll include the link where they give support for creating ads, website ads, applications, blogs in local languages. And they have a network of local language writers to support. So wherever there are issues of automatic translation, you can actually look for a writer who can support you in that language directly, right? So then you have Daily Hunt, where the news and all the articles are being shared in local languages. Better Butter, which is a platform to share recipes. So they share recipes in 7 languages, right? And then you have vernacular.ai, okay, so which is for voice and conversational intelligence, where they help businesses develop chatbots, and it supports 10 languages and over 160 dialects. So as you can see, the move has started. People have started, businesses have started focusing on enabling other businesses. So the technology innovation has really started off in this line, and it's a prime time to jump on board and start thinking on how we can start including vernacular content in our business, in our marketing strategy, in our publishing, our PR, whatever the case may be. How can we fit in the vernacular component?
Fantastic, Monica. I think, as you mentioned, it's the pandemic times, and we have already discussed this a couple of episodes earlier. If your content is not based on empathy, if you're not sensitive about what is happening to people around, people have lost their jobs, people have lost their loved ones, and COVID is here. We still haven't gotten out of it, even though the lockdowns are lifted. COVID is not gone yet, and people are suffering on a daily basis. It's not business as usual. And new normal, we don't know. We don't know yet what is that new normal. So at this point of time, if there is no vernacular content, if you cannot connect to people, one, you're going to lose out your competitors because they will. Secondly, somebody will come back and not relate to you. Even your own set of people who have been loyal consumers. We've seen this. Like last episode, we discussed how because of the lockdown, people were not able to access the kind of products they always used. So they just picked up products that were there, right? So localization has been aided because of a context, because of a situation. And if we don't do vernacular content, I'm sorry to say that we will definitely lose out on this. So with this, Monica, if we could just quickly sum up, what should these SMEs, business owners or marketers should take note on, I think that would give them a fair idea, please.
Yeah, so we've already covered a lot of things which the business owners should be thinking about, but I just wanted to share this, which will make you really think in a very serious manner about including vernacular. And that is 70% Indians find local language digital content more reliable. They believe it more, right? They feel more, so it's something has been told to them in the language they are comfortable with, they understand very clearly, so they are not confused. They are in a place where they trust that information which is being given to them. And 88% Indian language internet users are more likely to respond to a digital advertisement in their local language as compared to English. And 90% of all the video consumption that is happening today in India is happening in local languages. Now, if these things don't worry you and don't get you thinking on how we can include vernacular, well, nothing will. So all brands have to start thinking in terms of regional, how they can, win this audience with regional content. Then you have to, so we are talking about literary agnostic kind of solution. So that is why voice and audio is more popular, because even if I may know Hindi, maybe I don't know how to read Hindi. That becomes a barrier when it comes to written, readable content. But on video and audio, it doesn't really matter. So that is why, that has seen a huge rise in consumption. Then audio content is actually moving forward further than video. So that is something you should keep in mind. Then we have to start conversing with users in their languages on all our public facing mediums. So that includes our social media pages. So if you, and now all the social media platforms are supporting automatic translation, which is also very accurate to a large extent. So that is good. So some of that headache is taken away from you. But if somebody actually makes a comment in a local language, it's a good idea to respond in the local language as well, rather than responding in English. So that is these are small things, but small things usually tend to make a lot of difference. So that is something you should think about. Then, and then there are some more case studies which are up on 22 languages, which I would like you to go and see as business owners and the marketers who are listening, because they have shared some impact reports of how using regional content in a certain medium helped versus, just using English. So keep an eye on your analytics as well. Your digital analytics is a great place to find out the language of the browsers people are using to access your content, which will help you get an idea of which of the languages you should primarily focus on. So you have all your content in English. So you may not be able to provide all the content in all possible languages. You will have to rely on automatic translation. But there may be some languages where, it would be a good idea to actually look at transcreation rather than, just translation. And talk to your sales and marketing people. These are the people who are directly interacting with your customers. Have them, bring up this question on whether, a certain kind of content it would be better if it was, say, in Hindi or Kannada or whatever language, wherever that business is operating. So bring in those questions so that you can actually get some inputs directly from the customers. Your salespeople may already be getting that kind of information, but maybe as the business owner, you've never asked. So they've also not shared that information with you. Sometimes that happens, right? So they may think that it's not a possibility. So therefore they will not even raise it, but it could be a possibility. And certainly now it has to be a possibility. And then, of course, talking directly to your customers and asking them if they would like to have some kind of content available in the regional language, so that they feel more empowered to do whatever you are supporting them in. So these are some of the things that you can certainly start looking at. And I think once you get into this, the more you will learn about the expectations of your customers, it will drive you on its own and take you in directions where you will understand how best to map this journey.
Awesome. That was well summed up. I think that's quite a takeaway from today. This entire episode was about vernacular or regional language, how brands or businesses, if you're already an established business, then you should be looking at vernacular content. And if you are a new business, then start off vernacular. Nothing like a vernacular content, nothing like regional content, nothing like listening to content in your mother tongue. I think that relates very well and helps build relationship with consumers. With that, we come to the end of this episode. episode, I'm pretty sure that you have already heard of case studies, or you have an opinion about how vernacular content works in the digital space. So yes, please come back and let us know. When I told a couple of people that we are doing this episode in vernacular, and they were very happy because if you look at it, it personalizes it goes almost like into a hyper personalization mode. I still remember, I think one of those movies where Alia Bhatt plays a South Indian, and somebody says Madrasi and she says Tamilian. So the very fact that you're able, as a brand or as a business, you are able to understand the difference and respect that itself will give you the leverage when you start using vernacular content. And this holds good for, as I said, I mean, South India, you've got people who are Telugites, who are Tamilians, who are Malayalis, hardcore Kannadigas. Okay, and then North also, it's not just Hindi. There is Bengali there, there is Oriya there. There's so many languages, right? So let's look at penetrating further wherever the internet is. If you want to speak to people, then vernacular is the way forward. With that, we come to the end of this episode. Please write to us on digiindiasquad@gmail.com. That's digiindiasquad@gmail.com. Your opinions are welcome. You can also comment below about what you think about this episode and what we have discussed. We will meet you next time with something really, really as interesting as today. For now, goodbye. Thanks, Monica.
Thank you, Mansi. Lovely session today. Something I think which is close to all of our hearts. So yeah, it was a good session.
Perfect. Thank you all. Thanks
Okay,
for
bye-bye.
watching, and thanks listening. Bye-bye.